Okay, here's the translated and expanded version of the text, tailored for an American audience with the requested Dainjai and Mo Rongne writing style. Alright, listen up. I want to be real with you. This isn't one of those videos where I rattle off 5 life-changing tips and then vanish into thin air. We're not talking about a 10-minute motivation boost that fades away as soon as it's over. This is about something bigger, something more substantial. Because what we're diving into today is the fundamental difference between a life of peace and a life of constant struggle. We're living in a world where everybody's looking for a reaction. People will insult you just to see if they can push your buttons, to see if they can control you. They might ignore you in an attempt to wear you down, to see if they can break your spirit. They'll even spread lies just to watch you fall apart. And the majority of folks, they react instantly. They react emotionally. They react loudly. They lose their cool. They lose their self-control. They lose their power. And the sad truth is, most people don't even realize how much damage they're inflicting on their own lives with their knee-jerk reactions. That one argument that destroyed a friendship. That single text message that ended a relationship. That fleeting moment of anger that changed absolutely everything. So today, I'm asking you to take a deep breath and really listen. Because if you truly grasp what I'm about to share, you'll evolve into the kind of person who doesn't just survive the daily grind. You'll become the kind of person who's practically untouchable, calm, strong, focused, and at peace. And not because life is suddenly easy, but because you've stopped letting the world dictate your state of mind. This video isn't just for those who are chasing success. It's for anyone who's tired of being emotionally battered and bruised. It's for those who are ready to finally reclaim their inner strength. And I promise you this. If you stick with me until the end, you'll unlock a level of resilience that most people never even come close to achieving in their entire lives. This video isn't just some feel-good pep talk. It's about building a solid foundation of inner strength. Every word is chosen carefully, and every sentence is designed to teach you clarity and strength. It's not just about improving your communication skills. It's about elevating your thinking. So let's get started. Lesson number 1. Reacting means you're handing over the reins to someone else. When someone can push a button and trigger your anger, when a simple sentence can completely derail your mood, when you allow their insults, their silence, their opinions to rattle you to your core, you're no longer in control of your own life. You're being manipulated like a puppet, with your emotions as the strings. A lot of people mistakenly believe that reacting quickly is a sign of strength. But reacting impulsively doesn't mean you're powerful. It just means you're easily manipulated. Every time you react without thinking, you're giving away something invaluable. Your peace of mind, your energy, and your personal power. Now really think about this for a moment. How many moments in your life were completely ruined because you reacted too quickly? How many times did you lash out at someone you cared about, only to regret it later? How many times did you fire off an angry text, only to wish you could take it back? This is what emotional bondage looks like. You might not be physically chained, but your emotions are being controlled by the world around you. And the worst part is, you might not even realize it's happening. For instance, there was this young guy working in an office. He was a hard worker, always stayed late, and followed all the rules. But one day, during a team meeting, his manager publicly criticized him in front of everyone. It was unfair, and it wasn't even true. In that moment, he completely lost it. He started yelling, arguing, and trying to defend himself. The room fell silent. The atmosphere became incredibly tense. Later, the manager just calmly walked away. And this young guy, he became known as the emotional guy. Not the hardworking guy, not the intelligent guy, just the emotional guy. His one outburst completely tarnished the reputation he had spent years building. He didn't come out on top, he lost, because he allowed someone else to dictate his response. The solution? The 5-second rule. It's a game changer. Here's what strong people do. They pause. The next time someone disrespects you, the next time someone lies, yells, ignores, or insults you, don't say a word. Don't move. Don't react. Just breathe. Inhale. Exhale. For 5 seconds. And in those 5 seconds, you reclaim the one thing that no one else should ever have. Your self-control. Because when you pause, something incredible happens. The intensity of the emotion starts to subside. The fire starts to die down, and your brain starts to engage, allowing you to think rationally instead of just reacting emotionally. You can still respond if necessary, but now your words will carry weight, not just heat. Your actions will be thoughtful, not impulsive. This habit, this single pause, will transform your entire life. In your relationships, in your business dealings, in arguments, in family dramas, in everything. Because when you choose not to react, you're not showing weakness, you're demonstrating strength. You become untouchable. You become truly free. Part 2. Lesson 2. Most reactions turn into regrets. There are those moments in life that we desperately wish we could take back. A hasty text, a cutting word, an angry shout, a decision made out of fear or without thinking. And those are the moments that haunt us for years to come. You don't carry the insult that was thrown at you. You carry the weight of your reaction to it. You don't carry the failure itself. You carry the burden of how you fell apart when it happened. You don't carry the problem. You carry your emotional response to the problem. People often think that reacting quickly means you're being genuine or honest. But the truth is that fast reactions are often rooted in pain, not in power. Reacting is what you do when you're just trying to get by, not when you're striving to grow. We lash out when we feel insignificant. We point fingers when we feel vulnerable. We engage in conflict when we feel hurt. But after the dust settles, what's left behind? Guilt, shame, regret. We start to think, I should have held my tongue. I should have paused for a moment. I should have just let it go. But by then, it's too late. Because reactions, once made, can't be erased. Words don't simply disappear. Actions have lasting consequences. And people don't forget. Think about it. How many people have you pushed away because you reacted too quickly? How many arguments could have been avoided? How many relationships could have been salvaged? How many peaceful days did you needlessly ruin just because you allowed a fleeting moment of negativity to take control? And here's the most painful truth of all. Sometimes you don't realize what you've lost until it's too late to fix it. There was this woman who adored her younger sister. They were as close as could be, more like best friends than just siblings. But one day, at a family gathering, the sister made a sarcastic remark about a sensitive topic, something that reopened an old wound. In that instant, the woman lost her composure. She lashed out in front of everyone, saying things she immediately regretted, words that were fueled by buried pain and old emotions. The family fell silent. The sister left. Days turned into weeks, but the relationship never recovered. Years later, the woman would often look at a photo of them together and cry, not because of what her sister had said, but because of the way she had reacted. One moment, one reaction, a lifetime of regret. The solution? Train yourself to respond, not react. This is a shift in mindset, a skill that needs to be developed, a discipline that must be practiced daily. When something painful happens, you need to consciously repeat this sentence to yourself. This emotion is real, but my reaction is a choice. Yes, you feel hurt. Yes, it's unfair. Yes, you want to scream. But don't. Instead, pause. Close your mouth. Still your body. Let the emotion rise, but don't act on it. Allow yourself to feel the anger, the sadness, the fear, but only in silence. Give a name. Ask yourself, am I reacting to this current moment, or am I reacting to something from the past that's still affecting me? Wait 10 minutes, an hour, or even a full day. Then, and only then, respond with truth, with calmness, with power. This one habit has the potential to save relationships, protect your peace of mind, and secure your future. Because reacting might feel good in the moment, but peace is ultimately the stronger choice. And peace never leads to regret. Part 3. Lesson 3. Silence is a superpower. The world thrives on noise. People are constantly talking, arguing, explaining, justifying, trying to prove their point, trying to win, trying to appear strong. But here's a truth that you probably won't hear in most videos. The strongest people aren't the loudest. They're the quiet ones who don't feel the need to constantly prove themselves. Silence is often misunderstood. People mistake silence for weakness, assuming that if you're quiet, you must be scared, or that if you walk away, you must be afraid. But the reality is quite the opposite. It takes far more strength to maintain composure than to shout. It takes greater wisdom to walk away than to engage in a fruitless argument. It takes more power to say nothing when every fiber of your being wants to fight. Silence is control. Silence is focus. Silence is dignity. Because when you remain silent, people have no idea what you're thinking. They can't anticipate your next move. They don't know if they've hurt you or if you've already won. And that ambiguity is a source of incredible power. For example, there was this guy who was publicly humiliated on social media by a former friend. Fake stories, doctored screenshots. It was a blatant character assassination. Everyone expected him to retaliate. Everyone waited for him to post his side of the story, to go live, to issue a rebuttal. But he didn't do any of that. He said absolutely nothing. Some people called him weak, a coward, or even implied that he was guilty. But he remained silent. 6 months later, the truth surfaced. The friend who had fabricated the lies was exposed by someone else. The man's silence was now viewed as a display of dignity, class, and strength. Because while others were making noise, he was quietly winning. The solution? Use silence as a weapon, not as a sign of weakness. You don't need to respond to every insult. You don't need to explain yourself to people who have already made up their minds about you. You don't need to constantly post, message, defend, or fight for your dignity. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is saying nothing at all. Let your silence speak louder than your words ever could. Here's how to harness the power of silence. In a conflict, simply say, "I understand," and then walk away. Don't engage in further debate. Let their own words be their undoing. In the midst of drama, don't add to the noise. Take a step back and allow the truth to surface on its own. When faced with disrespect, don't shout, don't cry, and don't try to explain yourself. Just look them in the eyes and say nothing. People will take notice. And when they do, you win, not by reacting, but by rising above. Part 4. Lesson 4. Not everything deserves your energy. One of the biggest mistakes you can make in life is trying to fight every battle, defend yourself in every argument, prove your worth to every critic, and respond to every message, insult, or misunderstanding. It might seem brave on the surface, but in reality, it's a surefire way to deplete your energy, disrupt your peace, derail your focus, and jeopardize your future. Because here's a crucial point to understand. Not everything is worth your time. Not everyone deserves a reaction from you. And not every problem requires your emotional investment. You have a finite amount of energy each day, and every time you waste it on the wrong person or the wrong situation, you have less left for the things that truly matter. You invest your energy in gossip. You sacrifice energy that could be used for pursuing your goals. You invest your energy in hate. You diminish your capacity for love. You give your energy to things that drain you, and then you wonder why you feel so empty. Some people intentionally seek your reaction, not because they care about you, but because it feeds their ego to see you rattled, broken, or triggered. They don't want peace. They thrive on drama. And if you keep getting drawn into their world, you'll never have the time or energy to build your own. For instance, there was this college student who was bright, disciplined, and focused. She used to stay up late studying, and she had big dreams for the future. But one day, someone started spreading lies about her, claiming that she had cheated on a test. Her name was whispered in the hallways, and people started treating her differently. Some even stopped talking to her altogether. She was furious. She wrote lengthy posts online, trying to defend herself and explain her side of the story to everyone. She cried at night, wondering why no one believed her. Weeks went by, and she lost her focus. She stopped studying, she abandoned her dreams, and she became consumed by bitterness. All because she wasted her energy on something she should have simply walked away from. She could have chosen to say nothing. She could have let her actions speak for themselves. But instead, she gave her precious energy to people who didn't deserve it. Years later, she said something truly heartbreaking. "I didn't lose because of what they said about me. I lost because I tried so hard to fix something that didn't even matter. The solution? Learn to safeguard your energy as if it were gold. Here's what you need to do. Create a mental list of the things that genuinely deserve your energy today. If something isn't on that list, walk away from it. Don't get bogged down in petty battles. You're not here to win arguments. You're here to win at life. Stop trying to explain yourself to people who are determined to misunderstand you. If they've already made up their minds, your words won't change a thing. Only respond in situations where growth is possible. If a conversation isn't going to help you rise above, it's a trap. This isn't about weakness, it's about wisdom. You don't have to show up for every fight you're invited to. Peace isn't found in winning every battle. It's found in recognizing which battles aren't worth fighting in the first place. Part 5, Lesson 5. The one who stays calm wins. The world respects individuals who maintain their composure, especially when everything around them is falling apart. Calm people are trusted. Calm people are respected. Calm people make better decisions, build stronger relationships, and lead more fulfilling lives. Why? Because when you stay calm, you retain your power. When you stay calm, you can see things clearly. When you stay calm, you naturally become the leader in any room, even if you don't say a word. Most people navigate life like a storm, shouting, panicking, crying, blaming, reacting, losing control, and then wondering why nothing seems to work out. But the person who stays calm becomes the storm's opposite, a point of stillness that scares the storm away. Calmness doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you've learned to endure pain with strength, not with hysteria. For example, there was this man on a crowded train. Suddenly, another man entered the car. He was drunk, angry, pushing people, and shouting wildly. Everyone tensed up. Some shouted back, some moved away, and some started recording the incident on their phones. But one old man remained completely still, calm, and unshaken. The angry man approached him, ready to fight. The old man looked him in the eyes and said calmly, "Whatever happened to you today, I'm sorry it brought you to this point." The drunk man stopped in his tracks. His fists relaxed, his eyes softened, and he sat down and started to cry. The entire train was silent, because one calm man had shifted the energy of the entire room. He didn't react, he didn't fight. He understood something that the others didn't. This isn't about me. That's what calm people instinctively know, that not every external storm needs to become an internal one. The solution? Develop the discipline of calmness. Calmness isn't an innate quality. It's a skill that you have to cultivate, like a warrior training for battle. Here's how. Practice deep, consistent breathing. Breathing isn't just a bodily function. It's a tool. When your body is calm, your mind is more receptive. Observe before speaking. Allow people to reveal their true nature. Let situations unfold before you react. Then, respond with strategy, not emotion. Detach emotionally before you take action. Ask yourself, am I acting from a place of truth or from a place of pain? If it's pain, wait. If it's truth, proceed. Practice calmness in everyday situations. Spilled coffee, a delayed train, a rude message. These are all opportunities to train your calmness. The more you practice maintaining your composure during minor inconveniences, the more prepared you'll be when life throws you a major curveball. Remember, anyone can scream, anyone can cry, and anyone can panic. But the person who can sit in the fire and still see clearly, still speak gently, and still move wisely, that person is the one who ultimately wins. Because life always follows the calm mind, not the loud one. Part 6, Lesson 6. Reaction is a habit. Response is a power. Most people don't realize that they're not reacting because they're genuinely angry. They're reacting because they've always reacted. Reacting has become a deeply ingrained habit. It's automatic, it's emotional, and it's no longer a conscious choice. And when something becomes a habit, you stop questioning it. You just do it. Someone disrespects you, you fight back. Someone ignores you, you get upset. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you honk your horn and yell. You don't pause to ask yourself, do I really need to react to this? You just react because that's what you've always done. But here's the empowering truth. Reaction is automatic. Response is intentional. And only one of them leads to peace, success, respect, and power. Let's break down the difference. A reaction is fast, emotional, and uncontrolled. It stems from a place of woundedness inside of you. A response is calm, clear, and conscious. It comes from a place of strength within you. The person who reacts is like a volcano, loud, destructive, and unpredictable. But the person who responds is like the ocean, deep, steady, and unshakable. You need to ask yourself today, are you reacting like a machine, or are you responding like a master? Because those who respond are the ones who take control of their lives. Those who react are controlled by their emotions. For example, there was this young man who worked as a waiter in a busy restaurant. He was kind, attentive, and always respectful. One evening, a wealthy customer came in. He was rude and entitled, snapping his fingers and barking orders. Finally, when his food was delayed, he shouted across the room, "Are you deaf, stupid, or just lazy?" The entire restaurant went silent. Everyone expected the young man to retaliate, to defend himself, to react. But he didn't. He looked at the man, smiled, and said with a calm, steady voice, "Sir, I'm doing my best. If that's not good enough for you today, I understand. But I'll continue to serve you with respect because that's who I am." The room went silent. The customer, who had initially seemed so powerful, now looked small and insignificant. The waiter, who had appeared powerless, now stood tall and strong. The manager witnessed the whole thing and offered the young man a promotion that very night. Why? Because he had learned a lesson that most people never grasp. Reaction is instinct, response is wisdom. The underlying reason we react is because we're unaware of our own wounds. If you were consistently ignored as a child, you'll likely overreact to being ignored now. If you were once humiliated, you'll likely overreact to even the slightest form of disrespect. If you were once abandoned, you'll likely overreact to any sense of distance in a relationship. So, reacting isn't about the person in front of you. It's about the unresolved pain inside of you that has never been healed. And until you understand that, you'll keep reacting to things that don't warrant your pain. You'll keep giving your peace of mind to situations that don't deserve your attention. The solution? Transform reaction into awareness and then into response. You can break the habit. You can reprogram your mind. Here's how. Pause before doing anything, even if it's just for a single breath. Take that breath. Break the automatic chain of reaction. That one breath creates space, and space is where power resides. Ask yourself one crucial question. Is this about right now, or is it about something from the past? Many times, the emotion you're feeling isn't actually related to the present moment. It's a memory, a wound, a trigger. Awareness is how you take back control. Respond with truth, not emotion. Truth is powerful. Emotion is unstable. Only speak when your truth is clear and your heart is calm. Practice responding mindfully on a daily basis, even in small situations. Train yourself when you're cut off in traffic. Train yourself when your friend forgets to text you back. Train yourself when life feels unfair. Each moment is an opportunity to practice. Each breath is a chance to become stronger. The world doesn't need more reactors. It needs more responders. Because the people who stay calm, the people who choose awareness over anger, the people who think before they speak, and the people who feel before they act, those are the ones who rise, those are the ones who lead, and those are the ones who are remembered, not for their noise, but for their grace. And now the question is yours. Will you continue reacting from the pain of your past, or will you start responding from the strength of your future? Lesson 7. If you want peace, let go of ego. There's a reason people endure so much suffering in silence. It's not always about physical pain, it's not always about fear, and it's not even always about the actions of others. Most of the time, it's about the ego, that silent, invisible voice inside that whispers things like, "They should have treated me better. I need to prove that I was right. I deserve more respect. They don't recognize my value, and that hurts me. I can't let them win." And so you react, you respond, you fight, you explain, not because it's necessary, but because your ego is craving attention. But what you fail to realize is that your ego isn't your source of power. It's your prison. It's the reason you remain stuck, angry, bitter, and unfree. The ego desperately wants to be seen, loved, admired, respected, and praised at all times. But when the world doesn't provide you with those things, and it often won't, the ego panics. And when the ego panics, you react. You shout in the middle of an argument because your ego tells you they can't talk to me like that. You reply to a hateful comment because your ego insists they don't even know who I am. You feel the need to explain your side in every conflict because your ego demands, I have to defend myself. But here's the truth. Nobody wants to hear it. You don't need to defend what's already real. You don't need to prove what already exists. And you certainly don't need to be loud to be right. The moment you release your grip on your ego, you start to rise. Because the ego thrives on pain, but your soul thrives on peace. For example, there was this man who dedicated years of his life to working for a particular company. He gave them everything, his time, his health, his loyalty. But one day, without any warning, the company replaced him. No apology, no gratitude, nothing. He was filled with rage. His ego screamed, how could they do this to me? Don't they know who I am? I gave them everything. He wanted to go public with the story, to expose the company, to exact revenge. But before doing anything, he spoke to his grandmother, a woman who had lived through wars, betrayals, and poverty, and yet still carried a sense of inner peace. She said, my child, listen to me carefully. You don't heal by proving others wrong. You heal by proving to yourself that their actions will not control your future. Those words resonated with him deeply and changed him forever. He didn't fight, he didn't attack. He walked away in silence, with dignity and clarity. 6 months later, he quietly and consistently started his own company. Years later, he became far more successful than the very people who had betrayed him, because he let go of his ego and held on to his peace. Why does the ego drive us to react? Because the ego is loud. It can't tolerate disrespect. It can't handle rejection. And it can't survive in silence. And so, every time someone challenges your worth, every time someone forgets your value, every time someone walks away without an explanation, your ego explodes. But here's the danger. The ego seeks revenge, while your soul seeks freedom. And if you consistently prioritize your ego, you'll continue to sacrifice your peace. You'll react to every comment. You'll argue with every fool, and you'll destroy relationships just to win temporary battles. But when the dust settles, you'll be left alone with your ego and without your peace. The solution: kill your ego and choose peace every single time. This is the most important point of all. You cannot master your emotions if you don't confront your ego. The moment you feel the urge to prove, fight, attack, or explain, pause. Ask yourself, is this my soul speaking, or is my ego screaming? Let people be wrong about you. It's difficult, but it's empowering. Not everyone deserves access to your truth. Allow them to misunderstand you. Let them talk. You don't owe everyone a version of yourself that makes them comfortable. Stop fighting to be right. The need to be right is often the very reason we remain trapped in the wrong energy. Ask yourself, what's more important, being right or being at peace? Choose silence wherever ego. You'll want to scream the next time someone disrespects you, and you feel that anger bubbling up inside. Take a breath, smile, and walk away. Not because you're weak, but precisely because you've evolved beyond being controlled by something as easily shattered as ego. Remember, your inherent worth isn't up for debate. You don't have to react to validate it, and you don't need to defend it with words. Simply embody it, calmly, clearly, and with a quiet, unwavering confidence. When you release your ego's grip, something truly remarkable happens. You stop relentlessly seeking validation from external sources. You cease reacting impulsively to every bit of noise and distraction around you. You no longer feel the need to constantly prove your value to others. And, perhaps for the first time in your life, you experience a sense of lightness, of freedom, of being utterly unshakable. That's because true peace isn't found in the external clamor. It resides in the stillness, in the calm, in the quiet center of the heart that no longer feels compelled to win every argument. This kind of strength is what most people never truly discover, but you just have. Now, actively choose it, not just once, not just twice, but consciously every single day. The less you feel the urge to react, the more genuine power you possess. The lighter your ego baggage, the more profound and lasting your peace will become. Now that you know this fundamental truth, understand that you don't need to react to absolutely everything. You don't need to engage in every battle that comes your way. You certainly don't need to prove your worth to individuals who are incapable of seeing it in the first place. You're not obligated to carry the negativity, the drama, the pain, simply because the world tries to burden you with it. You are so much more than your reactions, so much more than your fleeting anger, so much more than the temporary storms that inevitably pass. You are calm, you are deep, you are steady, and now you are liberated. From this moment onward, may you never again relinquish your inner peace, not for any reason, not for anyone. May your silence become your source of strength. May your calmness transform into unwavering confidence, and may your wisdom guide you as your way of life. And whenever the world attempts to drag you into chaos and turmoil, pause, take a deep breath, and remember who you truly are. You don't belong in the chaos and noise. You were born for something far greater: peace, purpose, and quiet, unshakable power. So, remain still, stay true to yourself, and continue to rise silently, because sometimes the most impactful thing you can ever say is nothing at all. Thank you for watching. I'm proud of you, and from my heart to yours, may God bless you with strength, with peace, and with a life that no fleeting reaction can ever destroy. Take care of your mind, protect your soul, and never forget that you are not weak for choosing to remain calm. You are powerful beyond words. Until next time, stay strong, stay silent, stay free.